Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of the Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show, we'll revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Ike Eisenmann and Jonathan Rosen.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Rosen, along with my co-host, who famously told Sandy in Puff the Magic Dragon, The Land of the Living Lies, "You're not only out, you're benched." Ike Eisenmann.
Okay, all right. Now you've got me looking forward to the beginning of our shows just so I can hear what quip you're going to come up with about me. Yeah, oh my God, Puff the Magic Dragon. That I have to find out how you found that out. First of all, I haven't seen that since it was on
IMDb.
Television.
And the episode is on YouTube. So I watched
it's on
it.
there. Oh,
it
okay.
is, yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no, I have to see it again.
You have to see it. We got to do an episode about it.
I've seen it since it was on television.
So
okay. Well, I don't know that I will remember much about it. That was a long time ago. But
it's only 22 minutes, so we can watch it. It was hilarious. A fun episode. It was definitely a fun episode of the show. I didn't know that there was more than one. There seemed to be a series.
Oh, okay. See, now you're teaching me something here. So there we go.
So we'll get to, but today we're going to do another edition of we love our look back at some forgotten films. And today was your turn, so I'm going to let you take this from here. Let's give me the film, and I watched it this weekend, but you say it and a little bit about it.
Well, I hope you watched it. Otherwise, what are you going to have to say about it? I can't sit here and talk the entire time. But yeah, I chose Dark City from 1998, and it's much like its title, it's a very, very dark sci-fi film noir style movie, actually about a character named John Murdoch, who awakens alone in a strange hotel to find that he's lost his memory and is wanted for a series of brutal and bizarre murders. And so while he's trying to figure all this out, piece together his past and find out why he's suddenly in this situation, he stumbles upon a fiendish underworld controlled by a group of beings known as the Strangers, who possess the ability to put people to sleep and alter the city and its inhabitants. And he has to find a way to stop them and figure out every crazy thing that's actually going on in this world he now finds himself in. The movie stars Rufus Sewell as the lead character. Kiefer Sutherland's in it, Jennifer Connelly, Richard O'Brien, and William Hurt. And I was so excited to remember that Richard O'Brien was in this because, of course, I'm one of the few big fans of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I'll say he looked almost exactly the same as he did, and it was 20 years later, and he looked almost exactly the same as from Rocky Horror.
Yeah, it's incredible, and he's got that same vibe that just seemed to be his
creepy
thing completely. Oh yeah, completely creepy. I mean, the perfect villainesque type of personality that I really enjoy. So I will just jump out and say I haven't seen the film in many decades. But I remember falling very much in love with it when I saw it in the movie theaters, and it falls very much into my wheelhouse of kind of what I like, not only genre-wise.
I was going to bring this up because it definitely falls into your wheelhouse. You like this type of genre of movie because it's about aliens taking over bodies, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, essentially it is, and I forgot that was a key plot element that I knew they were aliens, but I didn't know they were aliens inside of aliens. And revisiting it now, we'll obviously go through all the various things that we like and we don't like. I think that might have contributed to its lack of success because it was more of a convoluted story than I remember. And
that was my word right here in my sheets.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. That was very, very clear to me watching it this time, because yes, there's an underworld of humanoids all dressed in leather coats and all very, very much looking like Richard O'Brien as well. They're shaved heads and
even the kids,
they,
even the little kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know the kid. Yeah, that creeped me out more than anything. That little kid, and doing the thing he did, it was like they've got these telepathic abilities.
That role was played by twins, a girl and a boy.
I know. I did read that.
I was shocked.
Which was amazing. Well, they needed, that's one of the things you do with parts like that, if you can, because then you can work, the children off of each other. One's in school, the other can work, then the other one's in school, then that one can work. If they're playing the same character, because of course they did that on Little House and many other shows, Full House and all that. But yeah, boy, what a creepy little character she was. As it turns out, I didn't realize it was a boy and a girl until I did the research for the show today as well. But yeah, watching it, the way these alien beings kind of manifest their telepathic powers is they do this weird thing with their mouths, and they're going and like biting like really fast with their jaws. And seeing that little kid do that just, man, really pushed me over this time, because I thought, man, the film is directed by a gentleman by the name of Alex Proyas, who directed The Crow and some other dark films from what I recall. And he just seems to have this ability to tap into all of these very strange and creepy attributes and characteristics that I tend to consume with relish. And so I like that type of stuff. And I think overall, I'll just jump in with what draws me to the movie. Yes, it's my wheelhouse. It's a dark film, and the entire thing, both conceptually and realistically, takes place at night. So you never see daylight until the end of the movie. And that's actually on purpose for many reasons. But that whole moody, beautiful cinematography that is, created for this film, I just really like that. I like the look of that. I can sit and just enjoy that entirely by itself without having to worry too much about the story. And I actually read some reviews, other reviewers who said the same thing, that the film's worth watching over and over again just to watch it. It's one of the, there are some films that are like that, where you can really love them for those aspects, yet not necessarily care for the story that they're trying to tell. And I think this story is problematic on a number of levels, and it was not successful at all. It was a box office failure. So, for many of those, probably those reasons, I mean, you can have a beautiful movie, but if you don't have a good story, you're not going to have a successful film. That's just the bottom line about that. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do. It's listed. I looked up the things. It's listed on all the best movies of 1998 lists. It's like, several lists. Roger Ebert called it the best film of 98. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I wouldn't agree with him on that. I mean, I looked at some of the others in 98. There was, The Big Lebowski, Saving Private Ryan, You've Got Mail. So I wouldn't say that, but it was definitely, like I said, it's the first time I've seen it. So I do like that aspect of our forgotten films. I'm learning, I'm getting to see films that I've never seen before. And I don't know why I never saw it, because it's definitely something that would interest me. And I like.
Had you heard of it? When I brought it up, had you heard of it?
I think I heard of it because I remember it vaguely. It wasn't something that was in my consciousness. I remember it vaguely. Yeah. So when I got to see it, and here's one of the things that I'll say right off: it did not have a big budget, which is probably because the special effects were not great to me. The special effects were not great as far as what the aliens did. And I was just thinking right off, after the hit, and I said, "Oh, Ike likes his aliens inhabiting us movies." But it did not have a huge budget. But the one thing that struck me, it was so reminiscent of movies that I had seen that came before it and after it. It had a Blade Runner feel vibe right off to me. You know, the certain thing, and that was part of the narration. And we decided, you know, there was a director's cut 10 years later. We decided not to do the director's cut because we wanted to do the one that was in the theaters. And so I read that in the director's cut, Alex Proyas went back and fixed the special effects because he was always bothered by them. So that the special effects were a little bit better.
I didn't know that part.
That's what I read. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but.
Yeah, no. And I haven't either. And I didn't know that a director's cut had come out, because when I learned about that, yes, prepping for the show, it was in 2008, and I wasn't I wasn't paying as close attention to those things at that time. But I know one of the other things that he took out, because the film opens with narration, and Kiefer Sutherland's character overly explains what's going on.
That was the Blade Runner vibe that I got. Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. There's no surprise, you know. I mean, I think one of the things that this film has, because it's so creepy and strange, and it's so disconcerting, because you don't know what's going on. You really don't know what's going on. Clearly, there's a reason for everything that's going on that you're seeing, that you learn about as, you know. I want it to be revealed to me. I want to be lost in the nightmare and then have it revealed to me as it moves along, and not be told right up front. It's just like Blade Runner. I was like, are you kidding? Well, I don't have to see the movie now. You know, I mean, I'm pretty much done. Well, but yeah, Blade Runner is very similar too, because it's dark. The entire film is dark, and that's not a nighttime thing so much as it is, you know, the world is so polluted, the sun just doesn't get through. I feel like, but at any rate, no, I mean, yeah, and I also found it eerily similar in concept to The Matrix.
Exactly. That's exactly, while watching it, I saw that.
And of course, Matrix came out a year later, so that was in '99, and I didn't even know, you know, back in '98 that The Matrix was a thing, because I hadn't really read anything about it, but clearly it was probably in production, being shot at the same time that this film was coming out. And actually, there was a trivia detail that some leftover sets, were used in Blade Runner, because that's also a rather astounding thing about Dark City is the production design period. I mean, for cinephiles who just really do want to see beautiful filmmaking, I'm not saying great filmmaking, but beautiful filmmaking, watch this movie, because it's you know, definitely. And, you know, even Alex Proyas is cited as references to, you know, to the film noir movies of the 40s, Maltese Falcon, among others. And that's just such a cool romantic period of time in cinema, and to reproduce that so effectively and within a science fiction film, I thought was just a really, really great idea. But yeah, I mean, the narration threw me, so I will have to seek out the director's cut myself and take a look at it and see if it feels any different. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, some of the things I was reading, right? I was reading that, you know, he started talking about this movie, the concept, on the set of The Crow. So, you know, you could presume that probably you know, Brandon Lee was going to be starring in this, because he talked it over with Brandon Lee, that had he not died, that he probably would have been starring in this. But yeah, you said that the sets from Blade Runner, but I don't know if you saw this, that the sets from Dark City were used on The Matrix. The same
on set. The Matrix, yes,
right.
Some of them, not all of them.
Not all.
I know they used some of them, and you know, just in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know, there are the back alley scenes in The Matrix. You know, some of the seedier areas, not necessarily the bustling city high rise sequences, is more than likely where they were used, but. I mean, that's just smart filmmaking. That's all. That's just budget conscious, smart, you know, well, because yeah, it made sense.
well, while watching it, I said, I got the same view right off. I said, this is the Matrix. It just had the same vibe. And so,
Yeah.
of course, I had to go look it up. Afterwards, I don't know if you've gone to see this. There are whole videos on YouTube that shot by shot that they're like almost identical. Certain things.
Really?
Yeah, with Rufus Sewell's character and Keanu Reeves' character, what they're doing, and it's almost eerily shot by shot that you can't help but come away with that they just borrowed very liberally from Dark City, the creators of the Matrix.
Interesting.
So
I have to check that out.
You've got to see the videos.
I've noticed. Yeah, I'm sure these videos are available on YouTube, but I only recently have discovered some people I'm following on Twitter who are showing clips from movies, classic movies, and then other famous movies that we know well, and showing how similar shots are, and that they've basically reproduced them from classic films. And I know filmmakers do this all the time. I mean, they do. You use, I mean, it's interesting when it's kind of stolen so directly. That's
the word I would use on this.
So. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Because look, I have nothing but the highest respect for the Wachowskis. I think they are truly amazing storytellers, and of course, because I love The Matrix, yes, and Bound. I don't know if you've ever seen Bound.
I've not seen Bound.
Is their first film is
I know
really,
of it, but I've not
really
seen it,
cool. Yeah, it's just a 3-character. It was very low budget independent film, but great camera work and just interesting stories that they tell. But I mean, yeah, then I tend to get very uncomfortable when I think of the idea of them sitting down in a projection booth and just taking snapshots of everything and reproducing it. Because I know, I've never talked about this publicly, and it's, I don't want to get myself into too much trouble, but
no one's
I won't
watching.
even say the name. Yeah, I know. There are directors out there, and there's a very prominent director out there who, and I know this because someone I know worked with him. He has no particular vision of his own, and he just has this flip book of cards with shots that he's, taken from movies, watching the DVDs and amassing the collection of shots that he wants for his film, and he shows it to a cinematographer and literally says, "Here's the shot I want." And the cinematographer then as the story was told to me, the cinematographer just threw up his arms and realized that he just had to do what this guy wanted to do, and he had no particular input on his own. So every shot in the movie was from some other movie. And I find that completely
no names,
amazing.
but rhymes with.
Yeah, I don't think I can even do that. He's actually not on the radar anymore for other reasons, but we'll just leave it at that. But I know the filmmakers do that, they borrow, and I don't mind borrowing or being inspired by, but that direct copy thing, and you could look at it as homage, if you want, but I don't know. I get uncomfortable about it, and I want to be exposed to something fresh and new. And of course, back in 1998, I mean, we had DVDs were around then, so it's not like these, the time wasn't going to come when you can make these comparisons and on your own. So I have to check it out, because I'd love to see that. I'll look them up.
I mean, I can't escape feeling. I mean, I don't want to point fingers, but I could not come away after watching the scene. They have the videos. They also have just web pages that they show the pictures side by side. And it's like, same reaction, same movements, it's, I was like, wow. I was just
Yeah.
blown how many similarities were. And I love the Matrix. I love the first two. After that, it kind of went off the rails. But I do love the first two Matrix. But to me, the Matrix, you cannot come away from seeing Dark City and not seeing how much they took from Dark City for the Matrix. That's my feeling on this. Maybe, just you can't point fingers, you can't say this definitively, but that's the feeling that you get coming away from seeing this. And to me, the Matrix was Dark City with a budget, because the budget on Dark City was so tiny, but on the Matrix they had much more. The special effects were amazing, groundbreaking, but the influence is there. I mean, you can't help but see it.
Yeah, but even in the storyline, that humans are being used for some sort of, not experiment, but what they're being used for. But see, this is where, and then there's this underworld. I mean, but these are grand, science fiction concepts anyway. So that's not unusual. But where I found Dark City failed, where the Matrix succeeded so massively, is if you're going to tell this story about human beings being subjugated by some other, alien entity, or in the Matrix, it's a digital entity, and running human lives, you really need that grand monologue from the villain that explains why they're doing what they're doing.
Right.
And it needs to make sense. It needs to be as interesting and horrific as actually what you're seeing on screen. And that's where I think Dark City failed, because their explanation is, they're a dying, the villains are a dying race, and they're using human bodies to, infecting, I don't even know what you call it, but going this inside of dead humans to perpetuate themselves somehow. But what they're doing in the city with everyone's memories, and putting people to sleep, and moving memories from person to person, and then waking them up again just to see how they'll behave in order to learn what it means to be human. I thought, oh my gosh, this is so razor thin. And I just don't think he worked out his philosophy. Mr. Proyas didn't work out his overall philosophy. And I think that's really important, because everything else sort of, unfolds from there. And that's what the Matrix did so well. I mean, it just did so well, explaining, using humans as a source of energy. And it just push, that's just, it's so outlandish, but yet so, highly, in these crazy worlds, probable, and it made sense. So I think it's got to make sense at a certain level, but I think that's where Dark City failed. It was like 2 layers of villainy, like these creepy alien looking, insecty kind of, I don't know, slimy octopusy things. They're inside of the humans and manipulating them. And I'll just go to the other thing that just felt very weak to me, that I didn't understand. And you, having seen it more fresh than I have, maybe you can tell me if this was explained. But John Murdoch, Rufus Sewell, the lead character, suddenly is able to manifest the telekinetic abilities of this alien race, and no one explains why. It's just all of a sudden he can do it. And I thought, all right, this makes no sense to me now, revisiting the film. And I thought, well, where's the crossover? I mean, why would he suddenly have this capability? And then not only that, but by the end of the movie is more powerful than the collective conscious of all these creatures, focusing their thought patterns together to affect all of the changes and the things that they're doing in the world. That just was weak to me also. I just thought there's no hint here.
Well, that's one of my things that I did not understand. But again, that was also very Matrixy to me, that all of a sudden the one that's running is now has their powers. But yeah, it just felt like And by the way, I thought I'll say that I did enjoy this movie a lot because I like that dark atmosphere. I like that, that noir type film. I love those things. But and I like seeing Rufus Sewell as a good guy because I could not stand him in The Man in the High Castle. I hated him so much, and not his acting. I'm talking about just the evilness of the character. So I was glad to be able to watch the film.
He was so powerfully effective in that. My gosh, yeah.
Oh, I despised him in that movie, so in that short series.
Yeah.
But so I was glad to be able to root for him in a movie now. But again, it just felt like we're getting to the end of the movie. We painted him into a corner. How are we going to get him out? Oh, let's just give him their powers. That's what it felt like. That the script writers, like, all of a sudden, try to get themselves out by putting something else in to help out that was not there before. There were no signs of it there before. So that felt very odd to me as well.
Oh, it was completely contrived. I mean, that's just it. It was I don't know. It was a crutch.
Little
Clearly
Deus
he
Ex
had to
Machina.
have the powers, but
Yes.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. And so I did not like that aspect of it at all. And also, I mean, the other thing that was just strange to me was the strangers, who are the villains that live under the world, and they all look the same with their bald heads and dark circles under their eyes, and weird leather-esque coats that they wear. They were all men. There wasn't a woman among them. And they said that they were taking over the dead bodies of humans to occupy them and function through them, but they only picked men, and they never explained that either. And I thought, not only are they evil, but they're sexist and evil. I thought, what difference would it make to them?
Maybe the woman scared them. I mean,
yeah, I don't know, but that wasn't explained either. So there's clearly a lot of spoiler alerts for people who haven't seen the movie. But
they got to know coming in. This is what we're going to talk about. A movie, there's going to be spoilers.
Yeah, there's got to be. We have to address these things right away. Yeah, we're not reviewing something that's coming out. We're talking about something that's been around for quite a while.
You're right. Out of that cast, if I'm taking over anybody, it's Jennifer Connelly. So yes.
Yeah. And William Hurt is fantastic. I love his work. I've been a fan of his and everything he's ever done, and I had forgotten that he's actually in the film. He plays a detective who's trying to find trying to find Rufus Sewell or whoever is responsible for these murders. And kind of in a way, I just think there were too many things going on. It's like that was like one more plot line that just made things even more confusing. And and I don't know if the story would have benefited from it being a little bit more streamlined, where the main character just suddenly wakes up and realizes he's there's so many things. It's like Kiefer Sutherland plays a scientist whose job it is to work with these aliens. And he's got these syringes of fluid where he's extracting memories from people and injecting the memories into other people, and they're swapping these memories around back and forth. And that didn't make any sense either. There were too many things that I think the writers were trying to accomplish in this story, and it just made it, back to our key word, convoluted. It just was, there was too much going on.
Really William Hurt. I love William Hurt also, just like you do. I was shocked that the role was not that big for someone of his stature, especially back then. I mean, he was, a real leading man in a lot of his movies. So he was not. The role did not seem that big, but it definitely was confusing. And like 3/4 of the way through the movie, I'm still guessing. Do I really grasp what's going on? I think I know what's going on, but it was still confusing to me, and I was paying attention. It just seemed really flipping back and forth. And Kiefer Sutherland's character, and I love Kiefer Sutherland too, but this character got on my nerves, all the constant wheezing, wheezing every line. But it was like a sniveling, like Peter Lorre type thing. But he kept seeming like to
I'm
flip
glad you
back and
said
forth.
that. I was gonna give Kiefer a break because he was trying to create a creepy scientist kind of character, but that speech pattern got totally on my nerves because it was like every word is pronounced, and he doesn't have any rhythm to any of the words he says, and so you feel like everything is urgent. I need a cheeseburger now. Hurry, I'm hungry. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah, it bothered me a lot. And yet he's someone else I love. I mean, I love his work. Good grief, So
reading the notes of it, it said that he thought originally that the role that they sent him the script by accident, that he thought it was for his dad, originally.
Oh, I didn't see that. And
Proyer said he wanted someone older, but he loved the way Kiefer Sutherland did it, so he gave him the part. But it didn't seem like the character knew what was going on either, and that got to me a little bit too. And the film made up for it. A lot of its faults were made up for it to me by just the tone and the atmosphere of the film. So I did like that a lot. But it had the same thing. The strangers were like fearful, and I'm trying to see if I'm getting this right. They were fearful of water bothered them.
Yeah, that's mentioned, and for what? No reason. It's like, okay, if water bothers them, then that's how you kill them. You drown them, right? I mean, or what? It's like this. Yes, one more detail that never paid off, never made sense. And why was it even brought up? Yeah, I forgot about that. That was
not just that, but
odd.
The movie that, like, they're saying that the water bothers these aliens. So one, it's like the movie, Signs, that one with Mel Gibson. So the M. Night Shyamalan movie. But if water bothers them, then why are you going to a planet that's filled, with water? That's the thing. So that part got to me. I did like the payoff a little bit, that you see this world is just like revolving in outer space. I did like that payoff. Although again, it was odd when they crashed through the sign behind me, when they crashed through the sign, and they get William Hurt's character gets sucked into space. And then why would he get sucked in if there's a force field? Because it shows that there's a force field around the planet.
Yeah, there's just way too many things that don't make sense. Because even the set piece, I mean, the major big special effect that runs throughout the film is, every 12 hours, midnight, the clock strike midnight, everyone in the city falls asleep, and then the strangers do their telepathic thing and change the entire shape of the city. And that was neat stuff to watch. I love watching that stuff, but there was no reason for it. There was literally no reason for it. It was just something they did. And for the opportunity to have this special effect play out on screen, and that bothered me. I mean, there was no good explanation for why anything was going on, and yes, too many details dropped or not. I mean, and this as a writer, you set the rules of your world and you have to obey them. If you don't, you lose your audience. Because people just suddenly say, "Oh God, this is stupid," and I hate using that word because it's not. These are smart people who put these these films together. But I just don't think he ever, he meaning Alex Proyas, because I know he wrote the story, and the story changed dramatically by the time the screenwriters got involved.
Right.
And one of the screenwriters, David S. Goyer, who's incredible, went on to write Batman Begins, I think Batman Begins, and a lot of other great movies. I felt like he probably had a lot of influence over the style of the story and where it was going. But even someone as gifted as he is never quite resolved all of these issues in a way that 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 made the story make sense.
Seemed like
No
they were
matter how
filming
outlandish
before
it
there
is,
was a
it's got to
finished
make
script.
sense.
Right. That's
I mean, it could well be. I mean, it could well be. You never know. But yeah, there's too many things that are unresolved. Too many things that aren't resolved in a way that make that are satisfying to to our hungry brains. And I think for all those reasons, that's all those reasons. That's why the film's failed and is quite forgotten. So,
which is a shame. I like I said, I did like it. I didn't love it, but I did like
I
it.
mean,
It's
there's a lot to like about it, and I know we're focusing mostly on the stuff that's problematic, but yeah, I think there's a lot to like about it. It's amazing to watch. It's just simply amazing to watch, and to get caught up in the mystery of it. I love that. I wish it could have just stayed mysterious, but that's just another. I mean, look, already the distributors or the producers got uncomfortable with it being too mysterious and wanted to interject the narration from Kiefer Sutherland in the beginning,
right.
so people would know what was going on. And that happens a lot. It happens to a lot of movies. I mean, I've talked about Predator. Predator was probably one of the smartest, coolest, most interesting movies I had ever heard about, because I had a friend of mine who was working on it in post-production, doing the God, I forgot the term, but working on the color, getting all the the color work done for the masters of the film. And he called me up and said, I can't, when this movie comes out, you got to go see it. And by the time the film came out, the producers got nervous because they thought, they said the audience is going to think they're watching this Schwarzenegger war movie, and it turns into a alien science fiction chase movie. They wanted to set up the audience, so they ended up adding like the comet or the spaceship crash landing on Earth, and all the rotoscoping of what the alien is seeing, and they put all that stuff in, so because they thought they were going to lose the audience, and it diluted the impact of getting this chance to all of a sudden find out, oh my God, these guys are getting killed by this monster from another world. I mean, you just lose all of that. But that happens, it happens with Blade Runner. I can't name any other specifics, but here in Dark City, the same thing happened. So that's why, of course, I only own the director's cut of Blade Runner for those reasons. And I will have to look up again to the director's cut of this film to see.
Well, I need to see the director's cut now. I want to see what was changed and what the special effects look like. You're giving him 10 years now, so I'm sure the special effects were, much better, later on in the director's cut. But again, I just think it's also budget. I think he worked with what he had. I read that the budget on this was, really tiny compared to what, The Matrix had just the following year.
Yeah, and I know this is like a $40 million budget for 1998. I don't know, that's not a huge budget for sure. I don't know what the Matrix was, but I'll say, the original special effects, when I first saw them, I thought, oh yeah, these don't look that good. But then when I understood what was happening, I thought, oh, now I forgive them this, because they didn't have to look that good in my mind, because they were almost using it like a device, or using perhaps what their limitations were as a device, given what was actually going on. But that's just me excusing it. Yeah.
No,
which I don't usually do, but I'm going to do it in this case.
No, I did like this film. I was also that we said that I read that William Hurt was supposed to be, the William Hurt character was supposed to be the lead. Not that, I don't know about William, but they were supposed to be seen through the detective's eyes originally.
Yeah.
Coming through. So that might have been interesting too. But, I think it probably is more effective having it, someone running for, being wanted for murder and told through his eyes, I guess. So I can understand why they kept it why they did it the way they did. but I did like it. I liked I liked the payoffs. I liked the, like I said again, the Shell Beach behind me there. I liked that, having the postcard going there, and that there's something about it that he knows that, inherently there's something about it that he has to find. That reminded me a lot of noir films, earlier noir films as well. That type of thing that you have, you have that one memory that I have to go look for. There's something that's going to pay off. So I did like that aspect. I thought it was a beautiful film. Like you said, I just the dark, the atmosphere was so cool to it. Then it got in its own way to me.
Well, yeah, and there's something else stylistically that I don't like about the film, and for some reason in the 90s, filmmakers really got into very cutty movies, quick cut movies.
Yes, I read that.
And I just got very fatigued by constantly cutting. It's like, just stop, let us linger on something for just a little while. And there is someone actually figured this out, but the average length of the shots in the film is like 1.8 seconds. That's the average. So there's obviously some that are like 3 seconds long, and some that are only a second long or shorter than that. But basically there's an edit every 2 seconds, and it's just like being.
Is that the most you've ever seen in a film?
I don't know. I have no idea. I would not know, and I can't even pull any out of my head where I felt like, okay, this was just way too cutty. I don't like it. But rewatching this one, and I don't know if I remember it hitting me that way back in the 90s, but there were other films I think that were like this, and it was kind of a trend for a while. But yeah, I just found this entirely
obviously he did that intentionally. I mean, to lead to the disorienting feel of it. But yeah, I got the same thing as you. Like, I want to just linger a little bit, but I figured that he did that for the mystery of it, and so you don't want to pay too much attention to detail that to one thing. So you focus on that because he wants to, like, where am I supposed to be looking? That type of thing.
Yeah. Oh, sure. But yeah, I get that. It's there's just. But style on top of style on top of style, just it's like putting too many spices in your dish. It's just all gonna the whole dish is gonna suffer.
Going back to it now, revisiting it now, like I said, we take turns going to the forgotten film. So this was your turn. Going back to it now, was it everything that you remember? Do you enjoy it as much now as you thought you did back then?
I enjoyed everything that I enjoyed about it back then, and I don't think I paid as close attention to the story problems when I first saw it as I do now.
Have you seen it in between back then and now?
No, I haven't. No, it's been like I bought it on DVD, and so I used to watch it quite a bit. But then I really did like watching movies like this just for the style of them. Just watching the craft of it, and didn't really spend a lot of time deconstructing the story necessarily. So it was surprising to me to revisit it and say, oh good gosh, not only is this so much like The Matrix, but I don't like it as much as I thought I did back in the day. So but the beauty of it and all the style of it held up for me. And so that very much is a huge plus for people who like these kinds of films.
See, again, this being my first time seeing it, I didn't know what to expect. I got the same exact thing as we've been talking about, just how eerily similar it is to some other movies that came after it. So I'll say that I do plan on seeing the director's cut because I do want to see the difference. It held enough of my interest that I would see it again. I would see it again anyway, this without being a director's cut, just to see if I could pick up other things that I maybe missed the first time. So I would see it again. It's not a movie that I would never revisit. There definitely are movies that I would never revisit, but this is not one of them. But I do plan on seeing the director's cut as well, because I do want to get a different take on it to see what was added. But it was good. I mean, it was definitely good. I could see why at the time people put it on their year-end best lists. I wouldn't say, like I said, I would not agree with Roger Ebert that it's the best film of the year by far, but I could see it making people's top 10 and why it made people's top 10.
Well, there you go. I think we picked this one right down to the bone.
This
one apart.
Yes, no, I agree. This is good. This was Dark City, and everyone, let us know your thoughts on this. Let us know what you liked in the movie, agree, disagree, and if I got a good one for you for our next forgotten film, but I won't say it. It'll be a surprise. But I do have I
always love waiting and finding out. This will be great.
I already have it picked out. I'll say that much. So, but again, let us know your comments. I thank you for watching. It was fun for me to go to see Dark City, and I love the forgotten films. I really do. I love this segment. But again, this has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen with Ike Eisenmann, and thank you for watching. And please subscribe.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast.